Hello and welcome, Watch Fam. Today we are reviewing the metal case kit or the conversion kit, specifically the third generation for the CasiOAK, which is the Gshock 2100, GA-2100, sorry. I have the White Stealth Edition, I think it's called. Basically black dial but white indices and white hands. And I basically converted it into a metal case using a third generation kind of metal case conversion kit that I bought from AliExpress. There's a few versions. The one that I know of at least is version 2, where the main difference between version 2 and 3 is that version 3 has integrated stainless steel band with the case. Whereas version, and the problem with that, and I'll mention it, is this bulge. And the version 2, the band is not integrated. You can actually change out the band. You can use the plastic band or the resin band that came with the original Gshock. So I'll be reviewing the third edition, the third generation. My thoughts on it, how I've been using it on and off with this Gshock, and whether you should buy it or not. Coming up right after this intro. Welcome back, guys. So in front of me is the CasiOAK in all its glory with my third generation metal case conversion kit, I think is what it's called. I mean, it's got a really long name on AliExpress, which I got and changed a few weeks back. So this is basically what most people are trying to get to, I think, because the best way to put it without sounding kind of daft is that it is a poor man's AP Royal Oak. It's the best way to put it. And it does have that look going for it, doesn't it? It uses the CasiOAK GA-2100 as the base. It has the stealth and the white in this look. So there's a stealth one where it's all black, and I chose the one with the white kind of accents because it just looks a little bit more smart, a little bit more, it stands out a little bit more in my point of view. And this was dubbed the thinnest Casio Gshock, I believe. So funny enough, adding this case, I think it actually adds a bit more to the heft and the sizing and stuff like that. But let's look at the dimensions. So for those of you that want to jump into this conversion, this is what you need to get yourself into. So I think I should probably just go this way. The diameter is, say, 44. Thickness, 12.5, I think. I don't believe it's added too much thickness. Oh, sorry. Yep, 12. It says like 12.5. I don't think it's added too much thickness. But what it does do is the lug to lug gets expanded. Look, if I was to take it, the actual real lug to lug, it'll be from this link to this link. What is that? 64. Holy moly, 64. Because the lug to lug is not this. I tell you right now. Because the thing is, this thing overhangs. It overhangs my wrist massively. And normally as a Gshock, it does do that. A lot of the Gshock has that kind of extra band to the top and bottom, which this one is, I guess, does as well. But the problem with that is the Gshock being black and kind of malleable and resin / plastic, it's kind of flexible. Whereas this one, there's no bend here. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't bend at all. So that's kind of like the reality of this kit. Now, overall, the kit quality is very, very good. As you can see up on top here, the bezel, it's, I would say, high polished relatively well. And then the actual band itself is brushed all the way down with the multi kind of segment links. I'm not sure what this band style is called, but it's definitely the Royal Oak band. The side of the cases are for some reason brushed downwards, or maybe it's a good thing because it feels like it's segmented. Normally case sides are brushed horizontally, but this is brushed down, and also on this side or kind of like a downward stroke. On top side here, it is also brushed, but where that meets the bezel, there's a slight lip. The lip is also polished. I would say high polish. So on the bezel, these screws cannot be turned. At least with my effort, I didn't want to push too hard. It can't be turned. Maybe you guys could, but it's already aligned in a way that it's like a circular motion in there. So that's great. The actual case has no crystal. The crystal is actually on the carbon core of the Gshock. So you see the glass here is, or was a mineral crystal actually, is actually part of the Gshock. So that's one good thing. Now, in terms of actual kind of construction or changing the original Gshock into like the case, the metal case that you have, it's really simple. I've left the link down below if you want to know how to do it. It's like a quick how-to. But all you really need to do is just unscrew these 4 holes, these 4 screws I should say. These are the original screws, by the way. Pop up the resin case, pop this on, screw that back on, and Bob's your uncle. So super easy. Now the bracelet comes with a butterfly clasp, which works well, but after using a couple of times, it feels kind of flimsy. I'm not sure why. Like, can you see how much play there is? Everything has a lot of play. Oh, I can understand here, but like this has so much play where it feels like it can break. And the metal here, like these type of metal between each clasp and stuff like that, it doesn't feel super high quality. To describe it is kind of like having, like, it almost feels hollow. Like they didn't use enough metal or stainless steel in here to make it heavy. Despite it obviously adding a lot of weight to the watch itself, because it has been dubbed the thinnest watch and a Royal Oak homage, this CasiOAK. However, it adds a bit of weight. But each link of this bracelet kind of feels cheap. Is it pressed? Is that why? It's not though. They're solid stainless steel links, but it feels like a pressed metal. Like the best way to put it is it feels like a Seiko bracelet. If you've ever had a new Seiko, and you take it off and you look at it and it looks, wow, that looks great. That looks like $1 million. But when you touch it and you wear it, it feels kind of cheap. The best way I can put it. However, the actual case that holds the watch carbon core is of solid construction. I can tell the difference between this metal and the bracelet metal. So if the manufacturers of these 3rd gen kits are listening, if you can make a 4th gen where the bracelet is the same quality as the case, same thickness, same hardness of the steel, hardness as the case, I think this would elevate it so much more. And if you guys want to kind of wait for the 4th generation to come out, maybe that's what you'll have to look for, whether that band has been upgraded to the point where it doesn't feel cheap anymore. Now I'm going to chuck on the wrist so that you can see what I mean by it being like really big and overhang. So give me a second. So here is the watch on the wrist, and as you can see, I've already sized the bracelet. Like any tighter, I can't go any tighter. Because of it's any tighter, it'll start cutting off my circulation. However, there is so much gap here that it can't, because the bracelet extends outwards. So that means the lug to lug is from that point to that point there, which was like the 64 mil, and I've got 6¼ inch wrist, and that is just unacceptable to me. So ultimately, I think I will just have to put this back onto the resin, the original Gshock case. Now, having said that, from afar, actually that looks ridiculous from afar. From up close though, it looks amazing. And honestly speaking, if you have, say, 7-inch wrists, I think this will look amazing. So it's one of those dilemmas where you probably have very similar wrist size to me, and you're thinking, oh, maybe it'll be okay for me. I'm telling you right now, it's not gonna be okay for you. It's not. Like, I mean, how? Even if you go 6.5 inch, how much more can you fill that space, right? You gotta have thick arms, but thick wrist to fill that area. Because I removed like 6 links already to make it tight, and it just doesn't do anything. And it's purely because of this integrated bracelet. Now, the reason, actually, for those who don't know, the 2nd generation and the 3rd generation, there's a key difference. The key difference is the bracelet is integrated, like almost flush with the case. And that's why it kind of overhangs that much. The reason why they did that is because they found that 2nd generation, the bracelet scratches the core, the watch core. Not the case itself, but the actual core of the G-Shock, which you don't want that happening, because that's it's irreversible, that damage. And after time, it just keeps scratching, and then it's just going to make an indentation in the actual watch core, and you're going to have problems later on, right? So they've done this so that it doesn't do that. However, the next problem you have is this much overhang, which means I can't really walk around like this, because it's going to look like, you know, kind of stupid, as you can see from this angle, right? So for me, this is it's a no-go, you know what I mean? It's a no-go for smaller wrist. But the quality, I guess, is kind of like a 7 out of 10, because the bracelet quality is not up to par. However, the case quality is superb. It's absolutely like dynamite. I can, like, it feels so sturdy. Oh, I can punch it, and maybe it can withstand the G-Shock test that they put them through. Probably not though, but maybe it could. But yeah, that's basically my take or quick review of the 3rd generation metal conversion kit for the Gshock CasiOAK GA-2100. Let's flip the camera around and have my final thoughts. So there you have it. That's my review of the conversion kit 3rd edition from AliExpress for the CasiOAK Gshock GA-2100. Always get that bloody Gshock, and the naming convention is all over the place. Or is it? I don't know. For me, it's always damn tough to remember the model number. But anyways, that's my review. I feel like I'm going to change this back to the resin. It's disappointing because I spent almost the cost of the watch on this kit. I spent 115 Australian dollars. I think it's now down to 97. I got ripped off. Whatever. It took 3 months to get here, by the way, and I just can't wear it. It's just too bulky. You may have a different experience. Your mileage may vary to me because you might have a different size wrist. I've got 6¼ inch wrist, which is very slender. If you've got a 7.5, 7-inch wrist, it might fit. It might just look like a normal Gshock and wear like a normal Gshock. However, for me, that bulge, this 3rd generation conversion, this bulge here is just unacceptable to me. And if you have wrists like me, I would say avoid buying the 3rd edition, go for the 2nd edition. However, the caveat is that the 2nd edition, there has been mentioned that the metal band scrapes against your carbon core Gshock watch, the actual watch itself, which is irreversible after you scrape it. At the same time, you might be inclined to get the actual case. The case is very strong and sturdy, and then swap out the metal band for the actual resin band that comes with the original Gshock, and it might actually look pretty cool. I can't do it on my one because my one's a 3rd gen. The other obvious issue is that the band feels it's cheaper than when I first picked it up. Over time, I realized how jangly it is, and the metal feels very hollow. Maybe they are not using 316L stainless steel for the bracelet, but they definitely are for the case. The case is awesome. The case is built like a tank, I can say. And if you can get your hands on the 2nd edition, 2nd version of this, 2nd generation, I think it's a better buy. I think it's also cheaper. I don't know if they're still making it. And if they're making a 4th version, 4th generation, maybe by the time you see this, there's a 4th generation. Hopefully they fix the band and the bulge problem. I don't know how they're gonna fix that though. They have to do something about it because it's so crappy like this. I can't wear it. Anyways, that was my review of the Casio metal conversion kit for the CasiOAK. If you enjoyed that, please consider hitting that like button. It does help with the algorithm. Hopefully it surfaces to other people considering buying this kit. It might warm them if they've got slender wrists like me. And leave me a comment, tell me if you bought this kit and if you're having issues with that bulge, and if you've got slender wrists like mine, or if you're just loving the 3rd generation. Who knows, right? It's like I said, your mileage may vary. And if you haven't already subscribed, consider subscribing. I post weekly on the Wednesday. I may post 2 times moving forward, I don't know. And I do a lot of reviews, watch reviews, unboxing, kind of custom mods and stuff like that. I'm still learning a lot, so bear with me. But yeah, hopefully you guys will see me in the next video. Otherwise, you have been amazing. I'm the Chirpy Panda, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.